Now I've been happy lately, thinking about the things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world at one, and I believe it could be someday it's going to come. And down on the air to dawn, there are these trains, oh, these trains take this country, come take me home with it. Now it's smiling lately, thinking about the things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun.
Okay, so we tried that, and welcome to OverGround RailRoad, everyone. I'm Kimberly Brighton Barrick.
Trish Lacey.
We were trying to do a screen share and play our old promo from my OverGround RailRoad from back in the day, which I thought would be kind of fun, even though this is OverGround RailRoad technically 3.0, not 2.0. So tonight, Trish and I thought we'd just hop on live. She's here for a week, and we really like to take advantage of being able to record when she's here. Last time that we did an OverGround RailRoad show, I have an archive of when the show was in LA. And so we were kind of going through, and we started an episode, and then she started school. And so we just haven't really gotten back to having OverGround RailRoad be recorded. So we thought, with her being here this time, we thought it would be a perfect time. And Trish and I definitely enjoy talking about politics, sex, religion, the occult, and spirituality. And well, that just happens to be what OverGround RailRoad. And I'm sorry, please, we would love to have Patreon so that I could upgrade my camera and upgrade a few things. So if you'd like to subscribe to our Patreon, it's at Unicorn Way, and of course our PayPal's down here. So we thought tonight we would question
everything
with a capital Q.
The capital Q.
And so for those of you that love a good conspiracy and also enjoy finding out that maybe they're not a conspiracy, maybe they're quite true. So that's always fun to dig in to the conspiracies and kind of mysteries of the world. I love a good mystery story as well. So I don't know if any of you have heard of Q, and we've heard of Q. I started following Q in 2017 because who knows what is behind it.
Who knows what it is.
Yeah. In 2017. I wouldn't say that I'm not on 8chan or 4chan. I know what they are. I know that there's sites that have Q drops.
You're not a QAnon.
Not a QAnon, but I am fascinated by it.
Yes.
As we get deeper in the show, I'll kind of give you my opinion on where I think things are at. But we have a couple of videos and do you have anything about Q that you find interesting?
Just that I have been a fan of questioning everything all my life. So when it seems a little fascinating, look a little deeper. There's always a little truth in everything. It's just like even somebody just being sarcastic or, satire, everything is a play, and there's always a little truth in something. So
I like your reverence. I like your reverence. I like things that are, irreverent comedians. I like things that are outside of the box and challenge you and aren't, yeah.
I don't think we should ever put all of our faith in anything except for ourselves and our own belief of spirit or planet or whatever.
And discernment and using our own noggin and questioning everything and thinking for yourself.
And it can change.
Always keep an open mind to let more information and be open to change, for sure. And over on our other show on Unicorn Way, our whole message over there is finding your true north, your own internal guiding compass, and no gurus.
No gurus.
So that applies over here as well. And I am very sorry about the camera, but it is not in the budget. So again, if you feel compelled to help us out and become a Patreon or donate on our PayPal, all that money goes to upgrading what we're doing over
and
here.
expanding the conversation.
Yes, expanding the conversation. So I thought that as we get into this, after we played the videos, that I would put my phone number up. I don't know how smart that is, but I don't want to think like negative either. So
yeah, we'll try.
You know, we'll try. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we even. Trish is going to post on our OverGround RailRoad Facebook page, on my personal page, and on her page right now. So we're hoping to, to have you join us over here and just have fun with us. That's really what this is about. It's a roundtable discussion talking about really questioning everything. And tonight we're going to start, because this is a show where we discuss politics, sex, religion, the occult, and spirituality. We're starting with politics, which I think we could even safely argue that connects to all of it. That connects a lot of dots right there with our subject matter. So Trish is going to get that posted. And so what I thought I'd do is, and I'm still, again, you guys, I'm still learning how to use this share screen on StreamYards. And what I want to do is post, it's the original video. I'd known of Q, but this was the original video that really gave me goosebumps in a lot of ways. Now, again, arguably it's propaganda, and is it good propaganda? Well, it gave me the feels. You want to believe it, that there are good guys that have already won the bad guys, and this is just the fallout. I want to believe that. Do I hold my breath after all the years of being involved with Ron Paul and talking about politics? I try to keep it as grounded as possible, but I hope for it. I want to believe that. And faith would say that the good guys win. And so how that goes about, I don't know, but I have faith that, there are good guys on the planet. So this is the first Q video that I ever saw. Now I'm pretty sure how the fair use stuff works, which I don't even know, because that first song, Peace Train, that was an old promo and it actually had a video, but I noticed when she was playing back that it didn't show the video. So I don't know if you're even going to be able to hear our intro, and I'm not sure how copyright stuff works. So it could be that right out the chute we get a copyright strike, but whatever, it is what it is. So I'm going to go to share screen. Yes, I know it would work best if I had to, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, gosh darn it. There it is. Okay. Now, go back to.
Okay. I'm seeing it.
You just saw it? Okay, good. We'll have yours going. We've got her computer going to kind of help us through this.
So you'll be able to see here whether it's.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good. Okay. And I started working with Restream today. No. Okay. So I think what I have to do is I have to stop at a certain amount of times, and then we do a commentary, so that we don't get copyright. Your entire screen, application window.
Do entire screen. At the top, where the words are.
Okay, but I'm trying to get the video in now. I really did work with this beforehand. Okay, hold on. I promise I will. Oh, there, maybe that's how I do it. God, that's so little. Oh, Chrome tab, there it is. Ah, here we go. Okay. Okay, I promise we will. Okay. There's a little lag over here, so yeah, okay.
Have you ever wondered why we go to war? Or why you never seem to be able to get out of debt? Why there is poverty, division, and crime? What if I told you there was a reason for it all? What if I told you it was done on purpose? What if I told you that those who were corrupting the world, poisoning our food, and igniting conflict were themselves about to be permanently eradicated from the earth? You might think that an idealistic fantasy. Well, let me tell you a story. We acknowledge there are criminals, of course. They rob your house, they steal your phone. They can murder you too if they think they can get away with it. We have all experienced criminals in one way or another. Criminals, as we know, are those who choose personal gain over the rights of others and have no regard for the law. But here is where you need to expand your thinking. Criminals can also succeed in business and politics and can be elected as our leaders. If a criminal became the president, imagine what they could achieve. They could use the full weight of their executive power to commit much larger crimes and ensure they and their friends were enriched to the fullest extent possible. A criminal president could create alliances with other criminal presidents and then collaborate on more global criminal activities. Anything goes. Drug running, human trafficking, whatever makes the big bucks. The 20th century was turbulent with war, economic
Okay. So I'm stopping it every so often, like I said, because for the way that copyright stuff works, I'm not sure if they would copyright strike me with that video, although they want you to share it widely, so I don't think there would be a problem. I'm still getting used to understanding what the fair use stuff is. But think about over time, like with the poppy fields and with why we went to war, and really question, again, everything. And that's why I like this video. So even if you don't know about Q, or you maybe don't agree, if you do know about Q, or if you do agree, when we're done playing this video, and then we have a couple other ones, which will show you the other side of the Q, right. Q argument, people that don't believe in it. So we're starting with the Q video, and then
we'll let a couple funny guys poke a lot of holes and show the ridiculousness of some of the fascination stories. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit on each side. It's like, that seems really like it could be true, and then, wow, that's just ridiculous. So, and why it's important to question everything and use discernment, because going down rabbit holes can be crazy making. So it's very important to stay grounded. It's why they call it the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole, yeah. Which then, of course, if you decide to further investigate Q, you'll hear about the white rabbit. So, okay, so let's try this again here. Add to stream, and I guess we could do that, huh? Let's try it. Okay.
Disaster, famines, and displacement. We have always accepted these things as just human nature and simply the way the world works. Something inevitable and due to the weaknesses of human nature that drive us to these actions. This is where we were all tragically wrong. You are not a criminal. I'm not a criminal. So how can we just assume that it is human nature that is driving all this pain and misery? What if it wasn't human nature at all, and as a result of something more deliberate? We were taught that capitalism was the cause of a massive rich-poor divide and the reason for poverty, which in turn is the reason for war, crime, and starvation. Others were taught that communism, the system of equal wealth across all people, was really to blame for the mess. But you see, folks, it is none of these things. It is not our nature to fight and be racist. It is not in our nature to rob from others. What you must learn is that it was the criminals all along. Yes, they got power. More power than a criminal should ever have. They rose to the top of media companies that control our news and entertainment. They ascended to the top of the banking system, also to the Oval Office, to Brussels, to the Vatican, to the Crown. They crept in quietly. They became leaders of agricultural companies who have control over our food supply. Also big pharmaceutical companies, the ones we trust to help us when we're sick. Nobody stopped them, and they just recruited more criminals to help them. First, they accumulated the world's wealth. They invented a system of money called central banking, which lends money to governments with interest, placing countries into eternal debt. People's wealth got less. Their wealth got more. Much more. When a criminal is already as rich as they can get, then protecting their ill-gotten.
Did you have something you wanted to
Yeah,
say?
let's start there. Let's start with the central banking and the Federal Reserve and who owns most of the money in our world.
Yeah.
I mean, question that. You know, who's the largest landowner in the world?
Mhm.
The Catholic Church, the Vatican. Like, and we have, since the beginning of time, been okay with and allowed tax-free land to be owned by religions.
Then we could go into the kings and queens.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that why people came to the United States, is to get away,
To get away
all
from the
that?
kings and the queens? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. At least they thought that's why. That's why we colonized here, but you
Yeah.
know.
And so Jekyll Island is a what am I unplugged? Is that my computer? Okay. The Man from Jekyll Island, it's a great book on the history of the Federal Reserve. From Freedom to Fascism is a good Aaron Russo documentary. The Money Masters is a great documentary. It's long, but The Money Masters on YouTube is a great long documentary on the history of the banking system.
Well, if you ever want to see a glamorized version of the story that, although is painting it in such a honorable way for these men, if you are the kind of person that questions things, watch The Men Who Made America. I mean, it lays out how the Chases and the Morgans and the Rothschilds, how they bailed us out of war, and from that point forward, they owned our country.
Mm-hmm.
That's who owns all of our banking. So who owns? I mean, when you think about the 9 families, they created 401ks, trademarks. They publish all the higher education, you know, mathematical books in our higher education. Sally Mae. You know, so we are led to believe that in this world, in our life, we're supposed to go to school, get a college education, owe a lot of money for it, get a good job, work really hard, build up our credit, buy homes, have student loans, put 401ks, you know, like everything that is set up in our system is set up by a very small few of the population that benefits from that. And it's a way of life that we think we're supposed to do.
And another conspiracy that's kind of on that, or is it conspiracy, that all the men that actually opposed the Federal Reserve went down on the Titanic. So,
yes.
you know,
That is a story that's been told.
yeah,
How convenient.
yeah. And going off the gold standard in 1913 and how significantly that's impacted our world. And
Because is our money really backed by anything? We keep talking about moving decimal points,
well,
right?
we
Printing
talked about the
paper,
check
moving
that,
decimal points.
the check that everybody's
Right.
you know,
Right.
nothing's free, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. That $1,200 that we're being waved in front of our faces is
Which
not
we
gonna be
won't
free.
get.
Yeah, we won't get.
No check for us.
Nope.
And it's fine. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a resourceful person, and while things are they're stressful, but at the end of the day, I can speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for Trish. I mean, she's right here, so she can speak for herself. But is it fear or love? And I choose love.
Right. Love wins.
I choose the peace train. I choose the love train. And that doesn't mean that it's just like you say that and it's like, oh, there's no more stress in the world, you know. But when I'm at those,
Choosing love can be a pretty tough road.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart.
yeah, and faith,
It's not without struggle and without courage.
yeah, and especially in times, you know, I don't have TV, and I've thought about reinstating my Netflix just because there's, you know, things, but I no, thank you. But you still are aware that this is going on, and so you can't just run from it.
Right.
So,
What was one of the things you said to me in the beginning is I have to choose how much hypocrisy I'm willing to be a part of, because I mean, you know, as humans, we have to function in this world.
Mhm.
So we have to play by certain rules, but there are choices, you know, that we can make on a daily basis that keep us less imprisoned, I suppose, I'd say.
Yeah. It's a very interesting time, and to see how it plays out. But again, choosing love and faith, and trusting that, you know, that it's all okay. But it's challenging. So, okay, let's continue with the rest of this interesting video.
Gains becomes the priority. Angry citizens tired of being poor are a major obstacle and can revolt if they suffer enough. The criminals needed to prevent this, so they diverted attention to the last remaining competitor, the people of the world, you and me. We were not happy being ruled by criminals and having to work 3 jobs just to survive. They know we won't accept it, so they use their control of the media to set black against white, woman against man, young against old, Muslim against Christian. They convinced us we were the problem so that we would fight and destroy ourselves. To get it done faster, they attacked all aspects of humanity that make us strong. Like family, using their influence over culture, they popularized lifestyle choices that led to a surge in broken homes, lost youth. We could talk all day about how else they deliberately weakened us, and it would turn your stomach. We were just trying to get on with living. So where are all the good guys? Good people just want to get married, have kids, make a living, and enjoy their liberty. Well, there were good guys, many. One became the President of the United States in January 1961. He knew about these criminals and wanted them gone. He knew their intentions for us all, and he wanted to fight them. Sadly, he had no idea how powerful they had become. Reagan also had good intentions for the American people. He knew this criminal mafia controlled almost everything by this stage, including the powerful rogue intelligence agencies. His economic policies were promising, but the criminals needed a weak America to hold on to their power. Reagan was shown with a bullet that a growing U.S. economy and prosperous citizens were not what the criminals wanted. It was looking pretty grim for good people. Every time someone wanted to stand up and do the right thing, they got stopped. Were we ever to be freed? These criminals are also known as the deep state, or cabal, because of how they control things behind the scenes. Every president after Reagan was one of these deep state criminals, and their empire got even stronger. With each bad president came new depths America and the world would sink. The world collapsed into darkness. Do you need me to tell you how? Destroyed factories, declining job numbers, sicker people, opioids, destruction of Iraq, Syria, and Yemen with pointless war, displacement of people into Europe, ISIS, terrorism, collapsed governments, poverty, and genocide. Total misery. Do you think that was inevitable? Hell no. Well, here is where things start to take a new turn. When the full picture comes to be known, it will forever be regarded as the greatest story ever told. Well, here is the top line. Some good people still held positions of power. They valued humanity and the rule of law. While the criminals discussed their game plan at the annual Bilderberg meetings, the good guys were making plans of their own. The information age was coming to change history forever. As the internet flooded into every home and appliances became smarter, and when people started carrying tracking devices, an opportunity to put an end to criminal control over the world was emerging. We became connected, trackable, and surveilled. But so did they. They became dependent, just like we did, on email, SMS, instant communication. It made crime much easier, but it also put them on a grid that, if accessed by the right people, would expose their crimes to the public and end their iron grip on us once and for all. In this new age of information, it was thought that the military should also have its own intelligence agency to focus on cybercrime and espionage. They called this the NSA, the National Security Agency. Here we had every phone call, email, and text from every device stored and archived, whether it be someone making a doctor's appointment or the deep state setting up a massive heroin purchase from the Taliban.
So I think right there, what I'd say is that when technology works for us, it's amazing.
Right.
But when you're a slave to it and you're not questioning everything, the programming, it's like in the cartoons when they have the spiral and like the hypnotized and you no longer, that's why claiming your sovereignty is a pretty important thing. And really questioning, how much am I on the internet? Because when the people, I'm never getting the chip. You carry the chip around in your hand.
We're paying for it. We pay monthly for it, and we walk around with it all the time. I mean, just the fact that we can talk about essential oils or a diffuser or light ring, and the next thing we know, it's running across our Facebook feed.
And I've seen people just say that they didn't type it. They just had thought it, and it came up.
Right.
So, it's the power of it. But rather than be afraid of it, and a lot of the conversations with like AI and a lot of the programming movies where, technology is, well, it gets out of hand, right? I mean, predictive programming, who knows? But I do know that claiming your sovereignty and questioning everything and putting it back where it works for me, I don't work for it, is an empowering place. Like I'm not afraid of, I'm a little creeped out when my computer does stuff like that. It's because it's a new way of, the world has just changed so exponentially. I mean,
technology has outpaced the truth.
Grew up where
hiding.
We had a rotary phone when you had a cord and you had to go hide in the other room 10 feet away and close the door if you wanted any privacy.
Down the hallway, and it was all,
and then you had to unwind it, and it was a big deal when you got a VHS player and a voice machine phone.
Yeah,
I can't even think of the name.
Recorder with the
message machine. Yeah.
I remember my daughter. She's 29 now, and I think when she was like 5 or 6, she brought home a piece of homework, and it had pictures on it to recognize or name the pictures, and it was a telephone, a rotary telephone and a record player, and she had no clue what either one of those were.
Yeah.
So
I've seen some YouTube videos where they put those in front of the kids and they just have no idea what they are. So
and yet a 4 and a 5-year-old can pick up my phone and know how to program it. Right?
Yeah.
There's there's technology
They
has
come in
really,
plugged in.
Yep.
We're
Yeah.
old models.
But the other side of that is just what they said is that it's also tracking them. Right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to get rid of servers entirely. It's very hard to keep your escapades private.
Yeah.
And so, part of the other side of that is that the good is that, some things are coming out these days. We're finding out just how our world is operating. And as we expand our minds, we get to choose more about what we are willing to believe and not believe.
Which is why I will always be less government.
Not more.
Not more. Not
Definitely
more.
Not more.
And I want to make it very clear, this isn't a left or right argument.
No.
This is a human argument. This is a sovereignty, claim your brain, question everything argument. This is, I'm so tired of the left and the right in the argument. Like it just.
What's the oldest game in the book? Just
Divide
they were
and
showing
conquer.
everything. Divide and conquer. Black, white, male, female, Republican, Democrat. It's just any way to divide and conquer. Because as long as we're fighting somebody or something, we're not paying attention to what's really going on.
I really thank the stars for my time with the Ron Paul campaigns. I learned so much about so much, and but I'm not gonna tolerate someone. If you even talk about Trump, I have to unfriend you.
It's become really divisive. This is the president who is severing people.
Yeah, he's
in their choices for if you support or don't support. They're very much standing in zero tolerance.
And how about I don't like any of it?
Right. I'm wings of the same
bird.
But
that doesn't mean that I can't agree with things that. Well, I watched actually before we get because we can just get off on tangents. Let's finish the video and then we can. Anyway, okay, let's finish the video.
Right hands, it would be enough information to expose the entire sinister criminal plot to rub us blind and wipe us out. Hold that thought. Now I need to explain the plan. The good guys were devising a plan to reclaim the world from the cabal and return it to the people. It would involve alliances with multiple countries, since the criminals had global rat lines, trade, and other infrastructure in place that would need their cooperation. It came down to two choices for America: launch a military coup to seize the government from whichever cabal puppet was in the White House at the time, or win legitimately, take control of the NSA, expose the criminals for what they are, and arrest them all. Obviously, the first option would be very troubling for the public. With people still preoccupied with cabal-engineered social issues, they would likely revolt and hurt themselves and others. No, it would have to be the latter. So they needed a candidate who could win, and who could win big. Many states like California had been so heavily inundated by criminals that even the voting machines were electronically set up to swing votes any which way. It would need to be a very decisive victory. Good patriots in the U.S. military and their global partners asked Trump to run for president so they could take back control of America legitimately in public. Trump was a good choice, obviously, because he overcame the vote fraud and won. But he was a patriot, and he was loved and admired by the public. He was not interested in joining the cabal because they hated America, and he did not agree with them on that point. As soon as he showed interest in taking power, they activated their media assets to viciously turn on him. That's when we saw the sudden hatred emerge. Even when he won, the cabal still had no idea what he was a part of, and the sophisticated plan that was about to unfold against them. Shocked at their loss, they mobilized their full arsenal of intelligence, media, money, and technology to try and take back power. Their people at the top of the DOJ and FBI then put together a plan to frame Trump and have him impeached. This is where we come back to the NSA again. All messages were stored and could be used to expose this plot and prevent Trump's overthrow. An entire book will be written about the first 2 years of Trump's presidency: false flag terror attacks, downplanes, missile alerts, assassination attempts. Here is the point. The world is currently experiencing a dramatic covert war of biblical proportions, literally the fight for Earth, between the forces of good and evil. I can't put it in simpler terms, but I can say it appears the good guys are winning. The Cabal had complete control over North Korea. They hijacked the Kim dynasty, took them hostage, and worked to build up a nuclear arsenal to threaten the world. Kim Jong-un suddenly embracing peace was simply because the deep state were beaten and driven out. ISIS was also destroyed in the year following Trump's win. We are all starting to see the pattern now that enough time has passed, that our biggest global concerns are starting to recede, and peace is returning. It is all evidence that the good guys are winning the war. But we're still in the middle. While a lot is improving, it still puzzles many that most of these known criminals are still free, especially the higher-ups like Hillary Clinton, the Bushes, and Obama. That is coming in the next chapter of the story. That's why we have Q. The good guys with control over the NSA began the Q intelligence dissemination program to invoke an online grassroots movement that came to be called the Great Awakening. It started on underground internet channels and then moved to the mainstream. Q has been a fun distraction for those who follow world events and desire truth, but it is about to begin a much more important and necessary phase, keeping the public informed when the deep state war breaks out onto the surface. By this, I mean high-profile arrests. Yes, folks, the criminals I'm referring to are famous politicians, actors, singers, CEOs, and celebrities, people who have earned our trust, respect, and admiration. They have done very bad things that are all fully known and documented, and they will be severely punished. Those of us who have followed Q since the beginning will be here to help you make sense of the coming events. We are among the first to realize that our petty partisan divisions are just trivial distractions, and we are all enslaved by a hidden enemy. We realize that the problem was never capitalism or socialism, Democrat or Republican, black or white, Muslim or Christian. We know it was just very powerful criminals who had too much power. Fellow slaves, it's time to buckle your seatbelt. Recognize your true enemy.
Buckle up,
and embrace
Buttercup.
a new future that we all owe to the brave patriots who risked their lives to achieve this victory against the greatest force of evil the world has ever known. May God bless America.
Okay, so
I don't know. Seems pretty sensational.
and I think that that's when you're questioning everything. I think that that's a very healthy thing. You know, propaganda. It's government propaganda, right? And
Right. Which side of the propaganda is actually telling the truth? You know, I mean, it's hard to tell at times.
and do politicians ever tell the truth?
Right.
And I think that there's, you know, I will say that where I'm fascinated with Q, because I've studied the occult for a long time. When I was in LA, I definitely have, I was in the rabbit hole before people were talking about a rabbit hole.
Well, in the occult, it just means hidden,
It
right?
just means hidden.
It just means, yeah.
But I was in LA and I was studying the craft, which is acting. So I was very into writing, producing, directing, acting is what I was studying. Now I would end up in broadcasting. But the craft, you know, there's shows, the craft, right? So it's, you're building, when you're an actor, you're building
There's a formula.
You're building a magical persona.
Yeah.
You're working with, I mean, it's, you want to be so believable that the people watching believe that you are not, you're a character.
Yes.
So I became very fascinated with understanding the craft, and I also have German Nordic heritage. I seem to have a natural, I was gravitating towards understanding occult signs and symbols and programming, and it just happened when I was studying acting. And so I don't have, well, let's kind of flip back a little bit. There's a guy named Franz Barden who was he's a German hermeticist, and he chose not to work for Hitler and was put in jail and you know, and tortured and traumatized. But that's where I started learning about black and white lodges. So I was just fascinated with it. I didn't join anything. I'm not, you know,
Not Illuminati.
I'm not, no, that's a, no. And if you even want to break down words and not be afraid of them, Illuminati means illuminated. So you can be illuminated and not be Illuminati. You can be wanting to discover or know yourself and learn and grow and become illuminated on a subject. It doesn't mean that now you're Illuminati. And so the same things with signs and symbols. They're there, they're not going anywhere. Spelling, we all spell. So we're all working with this energy. It's just, how do you choose to navigate your energy? Is it in love or is it in fear? And so the dark cabal, the dark lodge Illuminati are Satanists. So it's service of self. In LA.
And the fear that drives them is the fear of not having it all, of losing it, of not being in control. And that's what drives being using those things to grab
and getting old. We don't seem to want to get old.
Right. They all want to like live forever and, you know, have body dysmorphia and, you know.
Like Madonna's new video.
Yeah, that was pretty creepy.
Ah.
I'll never look at fried fish. Well, I don't eat fried fish anyway, but I definitely will not be eating fried fish.
Which is a great lead-in to the next video. And there's so much out there. I do also want to say that the Q information has taken a 5,000%, like the numbers, like a 5,000% increase on the internet. Now, the later video that we're going to get into would say that that's all bots and it's not a natural progression. I would say that there's so many people at home on the internet
right now that it might
they're sharing shit with each other and it might just be organic. Also, you know, I had a thought and it just flew out of my mind. So I think it might be organic. So this next video, because there's tons of stuff out there, and if this is something that you're, you know, like, oh, I kind of want to dig into this, just put QAnon in. Oh, because the algorithms changed and now things that you weren't able to find more in the conspiracy world are now, like, for whatever reason,
available again.
Available.
Which we're like nuggets of proof around people's indiscretions and about their atrocities. And the things that are out there as far as proof in certain people and what they do.
And they're off the charts with like Tom Hanks right now, which we're going to kind of get into that one in the last video, which there's some danger in, like, that's why use your noggin and in your own brain and question everything, because I don't necessarily think that some of these people that are promoting Q are actually doing anybody any great service, if indeed these people are doing these things, because it gets so sensationalized.
Right. And unless or until you have proof, be careful.
Because it gets so sensationalized that the average person that might otherwise be interested is just like, that's so, like, I'm not even going to look at that.
Right.
And, you know, that takes us into the subject of Pizzagate. A lot of these subjects, you know, they could very well be doing it, but because there's no proof, it gets sensationalized, and I actually think it damages the truth and the amount of people.
Yeah, when you're speaking in absolutes, when you don't have proof, you paint yourself as the crazy conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And then when you lose credibility in that, then anything you do say that has validity is now not listened to, because, you know, you've gone rogue.
And Spielberg's another one. And his adopted daughter just came out, and it just was weird. I mean, she's doing her own.
We're questioning things.
We are.
We're not telling you anything is absolute and that so-and-so is, you know, a baby killer, or, you know, we're not bringing that to you as proof. We're questioning all the things that are strange, that are coming out as possible. And, you know, we want you to question everything too. We want you to do your own research. We want you to not just take the media and or government for granted that is the truth, because we don't want to just follow blindly in any direction.
Yeah. But there are some very odd stories, and like, oh, do you believe in coincidences? Do you when you see things, they're like, something just isn't right. Like today we were watching a video and it's like the pandemic or the plandemic.
Yeah.
Question everything. So there is plenty of information out there on Q. There's sites that do the Q drops. There's plenty of, now there's even people that are like offering classes. So it's become this paid thing, and that's what people would call a grifter.
Right.
So
and there is the no gurus thing. If you're having to pay for your information.
If you want, you can do your own research. You don't need to pay for any of this, but there are sites now. And or are they a patriot, PAY, like in a grifter, because they're just jumping on the bandwagon to make a buck. So just, be aware of that. Be aware of that. And coming from a background and having small internet shows, that over the years I've watched a lot of shows and people and the progression of where they go, and like once they start going behind a paywall or they get any sort of success, and then there's
or if they can't look at the camera.
We were talking about a girl earlier that, like, and she's
everything
actually,
she says she's looking down.
And she's one of the people I don't like. I don't follow the Q movement, but she's in the last video. They're gonna showcase her, and we're gonna just kind of run through that to give you an idea of each person that they're calling out. And the people that I'm going to do in the last video are not Q supporters.
No, they debunk everything that that comes out. And so again,
not everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And they've even said, I hope it's true as well. But they are not going to be blind, like some of this sensationalism that we're going to look at in the last video. And I think it's very important to that's why this is a roundtable discussion. We want to look at all sides of things, and then be discerning and make our own opinion. And it's always open to change. Excuse me.
Yeah, change my mind.
Change my mind. Oh, now see, I've changed my mind on Crowder, though, because that changed my mind. That's a series. Or did you just come up?
No, I didn't know about that.
That's a series that he does. That
oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's because I watch a lot of underground channels, and then they start talking about these people, and then I'm like, oh yeah, now I see it. I didn't see that before. So you just
okay. What are we watching next?
Okay, so this I believe is that's not the one.
That's these days.
Yeah,
I like them though.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Okay. My dog wants out. So this is a current video. So again, if you want to sorry, my ears. If you want to dig deeper into Q, there's plenty of information out there. So I am skipping ahead. That Q video that the first one that we played is was the first Q video I ever saw and it I gotta admit, like it's some
Plays
good,
to the heart. It makes you think
it's some good propaganda. And coming from, Ron Paul and, no government, if we could have self-responsibility and that's a whole nother, but I'm not a fan of, I like less government. So, military and that we send soldiers over in their undeclared wars and the unfair, so it's not that hate the military. I just hate the way that the government was using them for because the federal government is supposed to be for protection, not for empire building. So
we're not fighting wars for protection anymore. We're fighting wars for empire building, for land grab, for drug smuggling. You know,
which is what the video was pointing out. So it's like, well, shit, if we got a leader in there that really actually respects the military and wants to change that and have it be for protection, like that's like,
that would be great,
right? Like that's, yeah. So I'm not going to apologize because I saw the video, and like, you're not going to get me to be like, hate Trump just because it's the popular thing to do from CNN's point of view. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch MSNBC. I watch Tucker on, he's the only one on Fox that I'll watch. I do like Tucker. Although he's pushing some boundaries. I don't know if he'll have a job for how much longer, because I do like some of the, you know, he's pushing some boundaries. And, you know, so, but that doesn't mean that I don't question things that Trump does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want this to be about a left or right thing. I just want less government and like the military to be used for protection, not for empire building. And okay, so I'm getting off on probably more of a tangent than I need to be. But so again, if you're interested, if this has caught your eye and you want to dig deeper into Q, there's plenty of information out there. But this is the latest video. So this is going to kind of take us to current Q. Again, we're looking at some very interesting information, and it is going to it's challenged me because some of this is very sensationalized, and that's what we're going to go to the next video. At the other end, we'll have a different end of this discussion. So this is just to give you an idea of a very quick and not too intense of a look at Q. Okay, so the looking glass is another interesting
metaphor from
Alice in Wonderland. And so a lot of the Q drops contain looking glass references. Now, my first experience with the looking glass was when I was watching Project Camelot, God, like 15, 16 years ago. I'd have to look at the date stamp on her interview with, I think is Dan something rather, and he's gone underground now, but he talks about looking glass technology. And we'll explore this. Let's watch the video, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit more about the looking glass technology. Okay, so here we go.
Let's get into it.
And
let's start where we left off, March 9th.
Hold on. This guy annoys the shit out of me. But it's decent. Like he puts, you know, he's showing
every time he goes
Q. He drives me nuts. So just to let you know, it's the information I could do without the broadcaster. Okay, here we go.
2020, Q replies to an anon on the boards. God wins. Fast forward 12 days. Q 3895 on March 21st of 2020. Q drops a music link. Do not fear, Q. You've seen this before. Jumping back to November 13th of 2019, Q post 3594. The armor of God. Q drops a music link and also some scripture. And it's interesting because this is exactly where we are in this current timeline against the cabal. Prepare for God and country, for humanity. We fight, Q. I remember the first time Q dropped this image, we were looking at it, and you know, the angel wings and everything, but if you actually mirror the image, yep, a Q in the flames. Now let's jump forward to March 23rd of 2020. Ivaka's morning message.
So it's Monday morning here in DC as we wake up to this brave new world. For those that are self-isolating and self-quarantining and following the CDC guidelines, we thank you as your weekend blends into your weekday. For our heroic first responders, healthcare professionals and the front line in this effort to keep our nation functioning, our grocers and our truckers, who ensuring our strong food supply. We thank you and we send our collective prayers for your safety and thoughts and gratitude your way. We're all in this together. We'll emerge from this stronger than ever before, and maybe more deeply and profoundly connected to our own humanity and our core values. So I wish you a good beginning to the week. Let's do everything we can to stop the spread. And let's remember that we are all united in this together.
Ivanka's message was full of inspiration and a ton of Qisms. Something that we always like. But something really got to me there in the beginning. We've heard that before.
We wake up to this brave new world.
A brave new world? Q Post 2450, November 7th, 2018. We are going to show you a whole new world. Those who are blind will soon see the light. A beautiful, brave new world lies ahead. We take this journey together, one step at a time. Where we go one, we go all. Q.
Q. I just want to slap that guy. Quit doing that.
I've been speaking about this since the beginning. November 9th, 2016.
Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. We have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people.
Now for the counter. Renegade. A reminder that we're a community and that each of us has an obligation to look out for each other. Shift. We're all in this together. Renegade again. We have to look out for each other. BC. Together. Evergreen. Protect each other right now.
Okay, so for fair right reasons, copy. You have to stop and then do a commentary every so often. I just can't play a video all the way through. So obviously what he's pointing out here is you're going to see the difference between the threads where the Trump Ivanka says together, and then you're going to see where I think it's Obama that comes out and says, you know, separate. So that's really what he's pointing out here. And so,
well, even in the language here, it's like it sounds like it's the same language.
Yeah.
But the semantics are a little different. When Ivanka or some of the other people are saying we're one, we're together. This thing, it's like you look at Hillary's right now and it says we're going to protect each other. Like, so that feels a little more like the part of us that really doesn't want anybody to know anything. We need to protect each other right now because it's coming out.
Yeah. I don't think that there's any woman that I despise more than Hillary Clinton. And I just dig into Haiti and follow the money and look into the Clinton Foundation.
Always follow the money.
Yeah. Yeah. And
okay.
Yeah.
Ivanka's counter on March 17th of 2020. Staying home today with kids? Plan living room camp out. Throw a bed sheet over some taped together brooms. Plan a menu and pack sandwiches, salads, s'mores optional. A fun activity that also brings family together for a meal. Share your idea and use the hashtag #TogetherApart. Check the flashlights. Those who are blind will soon see the light. Check the background. This artwork, rainbow colored. Looks familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, through the okay.
Now the deep state counter from Renegade, March 9th.
There's that fried fish. Look at her. Did you see her singing that?
Yeah, she looked drunk.
She looked more than drunk. She looks like body dysmorphia. Like, and like, I don't even recognize, like, and you can tell she auto-tunes all of her songs because she sounded terrible. Living in special times. Thank God for imagination and fried fish.
Well,
They're going to tell you he's going to get into fried fish, and that, you know, that it would seem that a lot of these people do talk in code. And also that's something about like why it's, I think, good to understand signs and symbols and do this sort of deeper investigation, is because signs and symbols aren't going anywhere. But if you start to recognize, and once the veil's been pulled back and you start to notice that like they'll post at certain times, there's certain, it's not just like a coincidence, like, oh, I sent you that post, it just happened to be 11/11. It's like they will wait to go, and they're told to post things, which again,
in consecutiveness and minutes apart and with the same similar picture, like the flag or the, you know, it's all planned out.
Yeah, it's different than yeah, it's just different. It's they're planned rituals, and they're seemingly nefarious. Okay, here we go.
18th, 2020. Some great stories of big-hearted people coming up with new ways to come together, even while remaining apart, to help the vulnerable who face some very tough times ahead. Check it. New ways to come together, remaining apart. Sounds familiar. That was a direct message to Ivanka. Renegade also gets in on the double crumb. Timestamp 1025. Q post 1025. April 4th, 2018. We are sincerely appreciative for your kind words and appreciation. It means more than you know. Each one read in full. We are in this together. Where we go one, we go all. 2018 will be glorious. God bless. Q.
Okay, so this is something that when he says stuff like this, it's like when I hear people that are like, oh, they do signs will be their downfall, or symbols will be their downfall. But yet the QAnons are using numbers, and they're using code, they're using, so they're just like, but we're the white hats, which is lodge talk.
Everybody's using signs, symbols, and occult, but they're all, it's only feeling like the way they use it is the good part or the right part.
And that could very well be true, but what I don't like is that it's like, oh, the occult. Well, it's all occult
because it's hidden.
Because it's hidden. Well, in plain sight, it's not that hidden.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could even argue that the Bible is occult knowledge, because it's reading between the lines. That when you read it, you know, is it allegory? Is it astrotheology? Is it there's
numerology?
Numerology. So, you know, the occult sciences, this comes from somewhere. And so I understand, I mean, you know, and believe me, I love Christ. The dogma, not so much. And so when it's like, okay, I'm with the Bible, and I'm God bless, and I'm Christian, and beautiful. But for the people, this is why Hypatia, it's like the people that maybe aren't subscribing to your flavor are still beautiful and love and can be a part of. So maybe they're coming from a white lodge, but over here the Christians would be like, she's a witch burner.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't want, you know.
And I think that's where in the assumption mode, we're always making the other one wrong. Okay, so there's the division again. There's the duality. There is the against rather than with and for. Now, if there is this nefarious behind the scenes deep agenda for taking over our country and taking children and doing those things, then I hope that it comes out.
Of course.
But we have to be careful on the messaging and how something comes out if it's not.
Because otherwise it becomes hysterical.
Yeah.
And right now the planets are aligned the same way that they were in the witch trials. So I find numerology, astronomy, and the cycles very interesting when you look at throughout history when things happen. So we talk about, does history have to repeat itself? Does it have to? If we're all
Not
open?
if we know how we can shift it.
So
Do we want it to repeat itself?
You know, maybe
Some
that
do.
is the Great Awakening, that we can,
Right. It's interesting that the Great Awakening and the topic of awakening is happening on this level in politics. And then there's also that discussion and that conversation of awakening happening with some of the spiritual community, right? So is this a time that we are all waking up to the lies and to where we are being held? And it's gonna be not pretty for a while. But I hold with you the belief that love can win, and that evil or nefarious or dark or whatever can only exist for so long.
And I also don't, this whole love and light stuff, it's like,
That's dangerous too.
Yeah, love doesn't mean you're a pacifist.
No.
That's a whole Second Amendment conversation. That's a
That's
whole
a whole
other conversation.
show.
Okay, let's finish this.
Also, Renegade conveniently drops a map of a neighborhood. Check it. See it?
And you can do that on any.
Yeah, I'm not
regular
buying
map
that
of a
one.
town. That one's reaching.
That's reaching, unless that's where Madonna lives.
Yeah.
And then somebody lived even then. This one's a stretch for me.
Have you noticed all the celebrities absolutely losing their minds?
Okay, hold on. Let's go back to that and let's do some celebrity gossip right now, whether or not this is even anything to do with
Have you noticed all
this. Okay. Madonna.
Totally plasticized and fake.
Does my cursor show up there?
No, because this is behind.
Oh,
this one's
it's a little bit though. You can see it a little bit. Yeah. I'm looking at the other screen, Steve. Okay, I'm pointing at Madonna. Oh, you can see it. Is she singing into a cleaning toilet bowl thing?
A hairbrush.
Oh. Well, that Matthew McConaughey doesn't like that. He's taken better pictures. And I don't know who that is.
I don't either. But you've got David Spade up at the top. You got
now she looks that Ella looks terrible, or Ellen, whatever her name is. Look at the Katie Shriver. Who is that? She was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
Maria Shriver.
Shriver. That's what it is. Well, I mean, everybody takes a bad picture. But
no, that's something that she's done to her face. That's like cheek implants gone wrong.
Oh.
And Ellen, I mean, just no makeup. And so they're gonna tell you a little bit about these people. I just thought we'd have a good dish here on just looking at these people, because again, I don't know who this bottom right and then above him. I don't even know who those people are.
I don't follow celebrities. Really
And Tom Hanks and his wife. I don't think he just looks like a normal aging. I don't see anything conspiratorial with the way in David Spade. Although they are talking to each other and doing some weird shit in their quarantine videos, which this guy's going to get in. And this guy, what's his name?
Will Ferrell.
I don't think he's ever been all that attractive. So that doesn't, yeah, okay.
If he had a booger in his nose, it would be funny.
Yeah.
Madonna, March 20th. Living in special times. Thank God for imagination and fried fish. Fried fish? Yep, another FF. Seems to be a common theme that all these characters in Hollywood seem to come down with.
Ooh, she doesn't look good. That's okay. That's just gossipy.
Sort of a
but okay, but I was saying, didn't she have a show out and you didn't know about? There was a show where she was like married to somebody and they eat people or something.
I have no idea.
They like
so glad I don't watch TV.
Like vampires, or they like cannibals or something. And it was a successful show, I think.
Should I Google that shit?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
I would love to be self-quarantined by
Oh
this.
my God, I just can't look at, let's stop it right there because I don't, look at her. Madonna, stop. Age gracefully. You're an embarrassment. How old is she now? She's in her 60s? Stop it.
Themselves in their little secluded environments, not knowing what to do. Completely insane. David Spade talking about needing Hanks.
Santa Clarita Diet is an American horror comedy web television series created by Victor Fresco, starring Drew Barrymore and Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, but what's it's they eat food, they eat people. I think.
Santa Clarita Diet is
And what's Wikipedia? What's it say specifically about? Does it say what the Santa Clarita Diet
horror
is?
comedy. No,
I'm pretty sure it's because they eat people. Okay.
Shirt that says "Run Forest."
So see, she's talking
Another
to.
Hanks reference, and then the face it on the volleyball with the bloody drawing. Maybe they're telling us something. Maybe they're saying that their supplies run out. It looked horrible. Lights, camera, no action.
Okay, here we get into the adrenochrome stuff. There's some pretty out there theories with what this is going on. And I actually don't know if I want to continue playing it because I don't know that I want to put that out there.
right. This one needs a little bit more vetting out and some information before we. Not that I don't believe there's evil happening, but this is a pretty strong claim without having a little more information.
And I think just like, we've been talking about, let's take this down. We were talking about the fact that, irresponsible, like putting stuff out there that doesn't do the topic of, sex trafficking, child trafficking, any justice, and even like Pizzagate. Some of that stuff got so out there that people
are like, no way, that shit can't happen. That's just crazy. And the stuff that's really happening then loses credibility to even look into because of the nefarious, like, hype story that people want to now just pass off. Yeah. So it's very dangerous.
Yeah. And so, but it is, there are some, it's odd. And coming from, after living 10 years in LA, do I believe there is a nefarious agenda? Yes, I do, in the programming. And see, look at that.
They're eating human flesh. People. They're real estate people that are eating, okay.
And it was like it had more than one season.
Gloria Vanderbilt and the whole like artist thing where they're like eating people on tables. They have these huge like $1 million dinners that people come around and they like, the models laying there on the thing alive, but they're like body parts on the buffet. Like,
and that's that Maranovic. I can't even remember her name. But she's quite a piece of work and as an artist, just and people I think chalk it up, just being weird as an artist. But I don't know. I happen to think that it's much darker than that. But again, you have to dig for yourself, and then I think we come together and we make a difference. I think that that's definitely possible. But to play any more of that video, I am just not really, I just don't think it's very responsible to continue that. But it has to do with endochrome. And if you're interested in it, you'll find the information. But it is quite possible. Quite possible. But the way his video goes in and the way that he ties it together, I'm not gonna play it. But if it interests you, then go forward. So that's just a quick overview. And we've already gone into this. We're an hour and 15 minutes in. So we just wanted to play just a couple of videos to even just start the Q discussion. And this won't be the last time we talk about it.
So Overground Railroad, tell everybody what, like where that name came from and what the intent is, you know, with your show and what we're going to be shining the light on.
Yeah.
Things in the future.
So Trish will be joining me when she can. But Overground Railroad is definitely my baby. And it started back in LA. God, 2006, 2007. And it's a show discussing politics, sex, religion, the occult, and spirituality. It's a roundtable discussion looking for solutions. So it's always been near and dear to my heart. I had Overground Railroad, the original, and then there was 2.0, which was here in Sedona for a couple years. And now here we are, 2020, and it's kind of the 3.0. So it's gone through many different versions, but something that hasn't changed about me is I love talking about the elephant in the room. I like talking about the tough subjects. I enjoy engaging my brain in difficult conversations. And I think that over the years I've grown and I've become a better communicator. But I like broadcasting. I enjoy politics, sex, religion, the occult, and spirituality. Now, I'm not really a fan of necessarily all those subjects, but it's definitely not politics. But I do enjoy a good conversation around those subjects.
Yeah, and we're going to look back at some of your old recordings and find some great pieces out of them that are relevant still or again today.
Yeah.
And have those conversations and invite other people to come in and have the conversations with us and ask the questions.
Yeah.
Question everything.
Yeah.
Expand our mind.
Yeah. And as you know, this grows, and if I eventually learn OBS and how to hook up everything and get another monitor, and you know, I'll take it to the next level. Right now, this really is just because I enjoy doing it, and so we'll see where it goes. But I will always love Overground Railroad. I will always have nothing but love in my heart for Overground Railroad. So we're gonna go ahead and play the next video. I think Trish is here for about a week, so we're enjoying our quarantine time together to work. It's not real hard to be quarantined when you have 4 horses outside and you have nothing but nature around. So I wouldn't.
Sedona doesn't suck to be quarantined.
The town's shut down, but I'm not really I really don't.
You don't go in public anyway.
I don't really leave the house anyway. So this hasn't been a stretch for me. I wouldn't even call it quarantining. I drink some quarantinis. I've been making jewelry with my neighbor that we'll display here so that when Airbnb starts to pick up again, that we can.
And we're going to try to really create some content while we're here for this week, so that Unicorn Way will have some strong True North stories.
Yeah.
We're developing content and education for our retreats, for our transformational retreats. Mm-hmm. And Overground Railroad is going to get back into the game of asking the tough questions, holding the conversation.
Just having fun with it again. So I don't know that there'll be a set schedule. When Trish leaves, it might be that I hop on, 2 or 3 times a week, or just whenever I feel with it. So that won't be a schedule. We'll see how it goes. We'll just play it by ear. Okay, so this is another perspective on Q. So this is 2 people that I watch their channels, more one than the other, but this is going to be this is going to be a different look at Q. This is going to be a much more this is going to be a much different look at Q. And I'm pretty sure that these guys are not the kind of guys, I've watched enough of their shows that if I play it for long periods of time, but I'm not going to do that because we have already gone. We're an hour and 15 or whatever, hour and 20 minutes here. And so this is Adam Green from nomorenews.org, and that's KNO, no more news. And then Davey Crocco, and he has he's got a few different channels. Like right now he's over on his Spooky Sundays channel, and he does just a fun, like looking at just some like weird shit. And it's just a fun Sunday show. So I do watch his stuff as well. So this is their take on Q. And I'm just going to start this right here, and then I'm going to go get my timestamp paper. So let's see here where we have.
On the executive order, you guys could check out that video. Maybe it was a good conversation.
Oh wait,
52, I think was the one.
yeah. Let's see if we can. Let's refresh this page. Okay.
Zionists that are influencing things. That's just like left out of the narrative from what I've been seeing.
Oh no, and if you ask someone specifically that follows this garbage, you'll say, okay, well, why don't they name Zionists specifically? Why don't they name Israel when something happens? And they'll tell you, well, Q says they're saving Israel for last, which means it's never coming. Like everything, it's a waiting game. They keep you sucked in, keep feeding into it.
On your ass. You don't have to do anything. The Patriots are in charge. Trump is your hero. It really is like a Trump worship. Like I don't think there's ever been a cult-like movement behind a president like this. Usually the conspiracies are, skeptical that the government's going to do something bad, not that the government's secretly good and there's this like secret war going on and stuff. But it's a cult. It is safe to say that this is a cult. The way they react, I'm sure I'm going to get tons of thumbs down and all the QAnon trolls and just like the InfoWars trolls are some of the most pitiful, like embarrassing trolls I've seen.
Yeah, it's definitely a pacifying movement. And like you said, there was a time on YouTube that if you pushed a pro-government message or leaned people towards the government, you were ran off of the community or off of the platform faster than like an actor.
Now that is true.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. There's never been this kind of movement behind a president or government.
And I come from the Ron Paul days where this was like, this is because so many people from the Ron Paul days have become huge Trump supporters. And so there's this interesting, I mean, look, if libertarian, the Ron Paul had gotten in, who knows would he have been so pure when he got into office? So, and could he, okay. Now, also, if we actually could get everybody to practice self-responsibility, then having a government wouldn't be such a big discussion. Yeah. So I don't really get too upset with all the folks that were once in Ron Paul's camp that are now in Trump's camp. But there is, I have plenty of friends from throughout the days of broadcasting that there is a lot of like, you are banned from the land of freedom fighting and truth. You are banned. And he's right. There was a day when that would have just been absolutely just not even tolerated. Okay.
Would be like an Owen Benjamin actor type would be forced off the platform. It just never flew. Now it's an accepted narrative because they think there's good guys in this group that are going to, it's literally like a 6-year-old argument. The good guys are going to take out the bad guys.
It's like utopian, and then have like this amazing no wars and no debt. It's almost like their end times prophecy in a way. So
Trump's their deity.
Yeah.
And at the end, he can be president for 1,000 years. The dictator himself will be here for everybody. Yeah, amazing.
The dictator.
It's fan fiction. It's like following riddles and following the Q drops, the bread crumbs. And
I call them the secret decoder ring, in the cereal box, the pissed-on breadcrumbs. It's insane.
For people,
and there are I don't like David Wilcock. I don't like, and I'm not even a fan of Gaia TV for a lot of reasons. I think David Wilcock pushes a bunch of bullshit. So there are a lot of people that are put into I wouldn't necessarily say mainstream, but they're out there, and I find them to be, and they're going to get in more of the word like grifters in it. They're
the
they're
ones capitalizing off of it.
Yeah, where I think that there are truly people that
The
are,
Patreons.
yeah, and I think that the Patriots.
Patriots.
Yeah. There are people. I think that there are a lot of really good people that are that still question and are discerning and aren't in a cult. What he's talking about, I think, are the kind of people that are a little concerning and pushing like stuff that like. Because I stopped the adrenochrome thing at a certain point because where they're taking it is
fanatical.
It's just too much, and I don't think that it does, like I said, the truth any good at all. So this is really what they're exploring.
So where are we going to?
I just wanted to see.
That may not know what Q is. It's like an anonymous poster that started on 4chan, moved to 8chan, that puts out these cryptic things, and everybody thinks that they're like secret military intelligence. I put out a video yesterday of Alex Jones and him and Corsi pushing Q real hard early on, and then it's so funny the saga. QAnon says they're Zionist shills, and then now they turned on QAnon. Corsi says, oh, they're Kabbalah, but we got a bunch of clips. By the way, we're going to be getting into clips here in a second of some of these insane things they're saying.
Yeah, and I assume I know which clips you're gonna play because.
Okay, so then I'm just gonna fast forward. I've got some timestamps here of people that they're called patriots or grifters is what they would call them. So people that are out really, selling merch and really making a buck off of Q. So I just thought this was a nice kind of another look at Q because I think it's important, and because
anyway, play it. We'll see it.
Propaganda, all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So the first person that they're going to look at is this Liz. Well, there's a couple of them, but we're going to start at the Liz Crocklin. I always get her name wrong. I've never liked this woman, so we're going to play a little bit of her, and then we're just going to skip through. And
that's why so many members of the elites, the white hats, tainted the elites' adrenochrome supply.
Okay, so
so the white hats poisoned the adrenochrome of the celebrities that they're drinking, and that's why they got the coronavirus.
Okay, so we'll get their feedback and we'll see what they say.
Coronavirus, and that's why so many members of the elites are getting the coronavirus, if indeed they do have the coronavirus.
See, like right there, she has no
proof that they even have the coronavirus, but she's
absolutely irresponsible of her.
Yes.
And the thing she says, I dislike this woman.
Drug that the elites love. It comes from children. The drug is extracted from the pituitary gland of tortured children. It's sold on the black market. It's the drug of the elites. It's their favorite drug. It is beyond evil. It's demonic.
Okay. She has absolutely no proof of this.
Right.
And it could very well be true. But she has absolutely no proof of it. I just think it's
and if it is true, somebody like her isn't adding validity to the story.
Or
that's
is she in on it?
Right. That's the kind of person that would be going. You'd be going, that's crazy. I'm not going to believe any of that. Look at her. Do you know what I mean? So it's
or is she shilling for it? Is she actually drinking it? Is she
no, look at her. She's not drinking. She'd look better than that.
Theory.
Sorry, that was snarky.
Okay, let's stop the theory. How much have you looked into adrenochrome? Is there any evidence that it's a real thing that the elites take?
I mean, I've seen evidence. Evidence or like speculation.
What does the chat think? Is adrenochrome real?
I mean, there's definitely a good number of people that believe in adrenochrome.
It's extracted from the pituitary gland of tortured children. I thought DMT came from the pituitary gland.
No,
You have to torture them.
And it was something in Leaving Las Vegas that Hunter S. Thompson's character drank. I think that's the first time I remember ever being introduced to, and I didn't even pay attention to it then, but it was something that they featured in Leaving Las Vegas. And then you've seen, I think, Lady Gaga and something like, you see it starting to be more in some media, but as far as like
the children, when they're in like this frightened state, and if you extract it at that time, then there's something special in the blood, from what I understand. And a lot of people do believe this, but again, there is no good guy team that's gone and found the big supply that they have, even if they have it.
Right, where's the adrenochrome
What they're
factory?
calling the coronavirus.
Was it at Epstein's house on the island? I mean,
well, they're going to speculate that it was in Wuhan.
Yeah.
Extra, see, like again, they use things that people like in the conspiracy world, and then add their little Q riddle bullshit to it.
Exactly. Yes. And I misspoke there. It's the pineal gland is DMT.
Yep.
Or so they say. So I'm trying to look in the chat to see if anybody, I don't know how late it is, but what do you guys think about adrenochrome? I mean, for one, you have to believe that it's real and that they really take it. Before you, and then not on top of that, they're pushing that, and it was spiked with the coronavirus, and that's why the celebrities are.
Oh, that.
Okay, so I don't want to get too much in that because we got some other things to cover, but okay. Again, it's possible, but without having any proof, and you're taking people down these incredible theories, that's all they are. So if it is indeed happening, I don't think you're doing it any good to actually catch what's going on. It just sensationalizes the fact that there are children being trafficked and abused.
And it doesn't do anything to help stop the children from being trafficked and abused. So
I don't believe,
there it has no.
I don't believe it does.
Right.
And so then they
Asked President Trump Q, read Kim Jong-un.
Get off this lady.
Okay,
I can't
so
watch her
what I
anymore.
want to I just want to point this out.
But this is her lack of credibility.
So she says last year that if the arrests haven't happened, the mass arrest by the end of 2019, she's abandoning Q. Well, her videos are up to 400,000 people right now, and there's, yeah,
she hasn't come off of any
and she's getting paid. So I just don't trust this woman at all. Okay, so the next okay.
This guy.
So this guy's name is Vox Day. Okay. And he's just got an interesting story as well. I do not like this guy at all. I think that anybody that has to tell you their IQ is 150 every 30 seconds, and then he's got some other interesting, you can go down the road of Zionism and different beliefs that he has, and very, very strong. I just don't like this guy. So I don't even know that we need to play any. I'll play this just because they make his voice funny, but his name is Vox Day. He's associated with a guy named Owen Benjamin, who I've watched. His channels have all been taken down. I don't really care for him much either at this point, at all, actually. He went and so much for free speech. He was taking down people's channels. Anybody that was speaking out against him, he was trying to take down. And I don't know. You just don't, the internet, you don't need to be just don't watch their shit.
Right.
But reporting him and stuff, I don't like it. Okay, so here we go.
Warn me before you put this worm on the fucking screen. Oh my God.
Okay, so now who is this? Do you know who this is, Davey?
I think I've seen him before. I noticed the layout of the library and the throne that he's sitting in. Teddy Beal, Teddy Spaghetti, aka Vox Day.
AKA Doc's Gang.
Okay, so this is another funny story. They named him, people that were trolling him named him Teddy Spaghetti because he did, he was like a programmer, and he had this really just boring video game that was like a guy making pasta or spaghetti. So they named him, I think his real name is Teddy, but they named him Teddy Spaghetti, and it took off in the meme world. And now people, when they're like, they refer to him as Teddy Spaghetti, and it was pretty hilarious to watch it all go down, because I like to watch really underground internet. I really like this kind of stuff. So I've been following these stories for quite some time, so it's funny to watch. But when it took off and they started calling him Teddy Spaghetti, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, Doc's gay.
This is
and
Owen
Doc's
Benjamin's partner. This guy used to write for WorldNet Daily, which is one of the biggest Zionist media outlets out there. Not that they're big, but just that they're such big Zionists. They write about the Third Temple, all that stuff. He was wearing a shirt of the Israeli party, the Zehut party, where their leader wants to rebuild the Third Temple. He publishes QAnon comic books.
Q Army.
Q Army, yeah. He's partners with Owen Benjamin at Unauthorized.
Okay, so we'll skip ahead of that. If you're interested in, you can dig deeper into that story. These are just, they're just pointing out people that are more in the public eye, speaking of Q, and they're looking at their credibility. And I think that's something that's very important when we talk about questioning everything.
Yeah.
And just because someone's on TV, or just because somebody has a big following and they're saying something, doesn't mean that you should believe that somehow they're above you, or that they have any special information that you can't dig into and discern for yourself. So that's
Absolutely.
That's really why I wanted to play these guys' take on this. And so this is Owen Benjamin. He was in LA, and he got banned from just about everywhere. He turned on Joe Rogan. He turned on Crowder. He turned on, and when I say turned on, he was friends with them at one point, and then at Prager University, and you know that some of it was like, yeah, you understood, but he burnt a lot of bridges, and now he was with Box Day, and there's been some exposing that actually what they were creating hasn't happened, and so there's talk of a big scam, financial scam going on. Whether or not that's true, I have no idea, but it is.
So again, if you're getting paid and you're capitalizing off of it, whether it's true or not, I mean, you know, you're creating problems.
Yeah. So
despair merchant. So telling the truth about the situation in the country is a despair merchant. He also says that Adam really hates Jews.
So
okay, so
I'm just gonna leave it there for now. Yeah, the chat knows. I don't even have to say it. Just look at what happened with him and Fuentes, or stuff he did to you.
Yeah, I mean, drink turp, guys.
Yeah.
And Nick Fuentes is another broadcaster who I think his channel was taken down too, and he had Graper Wars, and he did a whole lot of interesting stuff recently. And so if you want to look up Nick Fuentes, that's a whole nother interesting internet story. So what I wanted to, here we go. I think this is where he starts talking about.
He calls me a despair merchant. So
no,
telling the truth about the situation in the country is a despair merchant. He also says that.
What's your problem, dude?
Did he just say?
It's the virus of the crown, man.
Bro, I will throw this bag right at your face.
It's going to take the kings and queens down.
I'll fucking.
Okay, so Corona means crown. So the virus of the king. So there's a lot of which he from the Q boards, that it's actually the virus that's going to take down the crown. So that's another interesting kind of look at it. And you know, we could even like look at it as like, think of how, because when we talk about spirituality and the crown chakra, that is kind of interesting, because people being quarantined, like there is some,
it's dumbing down the knowing. Like everybody is getting so frenzied over the virus itself, and they are like closing in, and you have a choice in this time. You can go in and you can do the dark night of the soul, and you can be with yourself, which probably most people have not ever done.
So
Or you
maybe
can
it's an
be-
opening of the crown chakra because everybody's a king or
Right.
queen.
Could
if
be.
they use their energy.
Could be.
So that's a fun play on signs and symbols there. And then there is, actually, you know what? I think, because you look like are you getting a little tired?
Pick one.
Okay, so why I left a lot of people, because Q left 4chan to go to 8chan, and a lot of people will say that the whole personality changed once it went from 4chan to 8chan. So that's
What is
something.
it? 4chan or 8chan? I don't even know what that is.
You can. It's like underground internet. It's like the dark web
channel.
kind of. Yeah,
Okay.
it was like.
Okay, I just wanted you to know, say that, because anybody here might not even know who Q is, let alone
4chan or 8chan.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and again, you can, if it's something that interests you, you can Google it, because I think the more that you do this research for yourself, the better. But Q left from 4chan to 8chan, and so a lot of people will say that everything changed once he left to 8chan. That's another thing. And then let's see, where else did I have? Oh, I don't like this guy either. His name's Praying Medic. I don't like him. I don't trust him. He's creepy to me.
Roseanne.
Yeah, I'm flipping to the Roseanne stuff. And then here's another guy this guy's just a doofus.
The Q thing was looking a little shady. All right.
Okay, I don't even want to watch this guy. He annoys me so much. And then there's this guy. So they're basically saying that the people that are out there that are in front, they're grifters and they're patriots. They're making money on being grifters, and that they aren't really telling you what you need to know. Okay, so this guy he's not somebody that's just Jack Posabiec. I think he's been called out as being kind of a shady motherfucker anyway. But he says that after Q left 4chan, that everything changed, and because all the memes started to be very anti-Semitic. Where this guy there's a whole backstory to him, and anyway, that's a whole nother talk show. Now this guy, Leo Zagamo, I was watching him.
In fact, showing my latest book.
He is Knights of Malta, and he's I think 33, even higher degree Mason. He was on Project Camelot years ago, back when I watched the Looking Glass interview, and he came out with some pretty interesting information, and then he went underground, and now he's back above ground because he says he has permission to talk. And is he controlled opposition? Who the fuck knows? That's why this stuff is so interesting to me, and why I think it's so important to be discerning and question everything. But he's been around the way for a while before Q, and he's been out there. But I don't trust him either.
Well, I know you should talk about how powerful the Muslims were, and I didn't believe it.
And I don't trust Alex Jones. So, these are the type of people that will give you a little bit of truth, or however much truth, but then they want to sell you stamina pills, prepper food. So they're making big money on this, and then they sensationalize.
Once again, capitalizing on the fear.
Yeah, and they
can steer you to the fear of one thing, then now I can get you to believe you need this.
Yeah, so they give you a little bit of, or however much truth, but then they fearmonger you. And so there is a 10-part documentary out that it's quite a long one, and it documents, and that's what they're talking about here is this documentary.
So they play this quote from Mel Gibson about Hollywood feasting on the blood of children, which
and enough of that.
Barron Trump
IQ 146.
One below Owen. You'll get there, buddy. You got time.
You'll get there.
And here's the conspiracy with Trump and JFK Jr. that they believe this guy is JFK Jr. This is the conspiracy.
Oh, the Vincent Price guy.
Yeah.
He's Q too. He's QAnon.
Yeah. They love this one. This is one of their favorites. They actually had a bunch of them go on, whatever the guy's name is, Jim Jeffries on Comedy Central to explain to him Q. And like the one guy piped up with the JFK thing, and it was so ridiculous. He sounded like such an idiot. Jordan Sather was on there too. He went on the Comedy Central show.
I watched that one, yeah.
It's bad.
So this is the end of this documentary. This is like utopian messianic age. No more wars, no more debt. Everyone's in peace. Trump is going to create a utopia. This is to get an idea of this documentary, which I don't recommend anybody watch at all.
World peace to start off with. That's literally what Trump said to a reporter.
They loved using that British woman.
If he'd been nominated for the Nobel Peace
She did
Prize.
the documentary.
The prize
is that
will
the
be
10th?
world
Yeah.
peace.
Trump is going to bring world peace.
Can you imagine a world without war?
No.
I don't think we can. We've been led to believe that.
Okay, so now this is my part that because I'm a taxation is theft girl, so they bring up taxation is theft.
The Treasury has to get involved because.
And there is interesting stuff going on with the Federal Reserve right now and merging with the Treasury. So that's another one that's coming up, being talked about. So this is all very interesting stuff, and I love to talk about conspiracy stuff. And so we'll I'm gonna hold on. I want to stop it. They talk about Tesla. Okay, I was going to put it on. Taxation is theft. So all very interesting stuff. Hopefully we've given you an kind of a look at two different ends of the spectrum and why it's important to question everything, and that, propaganda is propaganda, and good propaganda, bad propaganda, psyops,
side you're on.
Psyops, good psyops, bad psyops. Like, how is that, as far as I'm concerned, the Great Awakening, people are talking about occult knowledge. And I think that, I know signs and symbols aren't going in anywhere. We all spell. So it's how you use this energy. And so when the veil is lifted, or what some people might call red pilled, that you're able to see past the illusion and not live in constant fear, but understand that there's a reason why they call it black ops. There's something darker in the world. And when we bring, and this is another
When
Q
we bring
saying,
light to
dark
the
to
dark.
light, and that's another Q saying. And so, I'm okay with it. The Great Awakening, and however that's happening for you, I'm good with it.
We don't all wake up the same.
Thank God.
Or at the same time.
That we're all not
or
the
in the
same.
same. Right.
Yeah. So we are all one, but we're absolutely different. And I wouldn't want that to change. I wouldn't want things to become so blah and, so one that generic, and that we stop thinking for ourselves, and that we didn't have personalities. And I believe that, I certainly don't believe government.
No initiation of force or fraud.
That's it. No initiation of force or fraud. Thank you. She knows me so well. She's heard this for so many years. So on that note, I'm actually a little tired. And what time is it? Is it? Well, it's 11.
Yeah, it's late compared to when we went to bed last night. So we're gonna wake up tomorrow even more awake.
Yeah. And we had a nap today as well. So thank you. It looks like we have someone watching besides us.
Yay.
So I hope everybody has a good night, and I'll do some reposting and stuff of this and add some links and to those shows and some more information. I'm not going to do it tonight, but I hope everybody has a wonderful night, and we'll see you on the next episode of Overground Railroad. Be well.